Okay, so this is my Lufthansa 747-8 first class review. I'm currently laying down, and I haven't even had the bed made up professionally. The flight attendants will come by and actually make the bed up correctly. I sort of did it myself. I'm kind of waiting for them to come over to me and offer to do it, which I'm sure they will. They've been amazing. Just incredible. Let me tell you about this experience. So first of all, we planned this trip for, I guess 6 months, this Italy trip. And when I booked it, I booked upper deck business class. Matt and I would sit together, and the business class is nice. I just walked through it, went up to it. I'll put some pictures in the video. It was very nice. We would have been very happy in business. But a few days before our flight left, an upgrade became available to first. And I thought, this is probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So let me go ahead and do it. So I purchased the upgrade for us. Matt is currently sleeping one row behind me. And I'm going to just go ahead and say that it was worth it. We only have about 5 hours left in the flight. But I am going to try to sleep. This bed is huge. It's 80 inches long, so it fits me. We board the plane. The first class is exclusive. It's in the nose of the 747. By the way, how cool is that? I haven't been on a 747 since the 80s. This thing is huge. It's quiet. The ride's been great. So the first class cabin's in the nose. There's only 8 seats. 7 of them are occupied tonight. There's 1 empty seat. We have at least 2 flight attendants. I think we have a third that's kind of floating. So the passenger to flight attendant ratio is remarkable. The food was good. Good for airline food. I did get the caviar course, of course. It's wonderful. Awesome champagne, and just never-ending refills in champagne. The flight attendant who's handling our seats is named Christine, and she's awesome. I gotta send them a note because she's just too good. So, there's a caviar course, there's bread, there's appetizers. They were a little too fancy. They insisted upon themselves. Jellies, gels, foams. Give me a break, but it was good. I had a fish entree that was not good. And so she said, I'll bring you something else. And she brought me a chicken curry that was really, really good. And I had dessert, which was bread pudding and ice cream. And I have a nice little glass of cognac here. And chocolates. So it's just insane. This is the only way to travel internationally. We got a movie playing. I'm playing Men in Black. It's been smooth for the most part. Light bumps here and there. The captain came down before departure to say hello to us by name. And this is just fancy as fuck. It's just incredible. So, you gotta be smart about booking this. I would not buy it outright. I would buy business and then hope that an opportunity for an upgrade came. And then I would do this every single time. So, I think I'm going to try to sleep. Dinner was good. Dessert was awesome. The drinks are good. Chocolate's amazing. I'm going to try to sleep. And then tomorrow morning for breakfast, before arrival, Christine told me that they have an electric skillet and they will make you fresh scrambled eggs with bacon and chives and whatever. It's just fancy as hell. And then when we get to Frankfurt, we got about 4 hours, and we have access to the first class lounge because of this upgrade. And so we'll go in there and probably sleep or shower or both. Because then we have a 1 hour hop over to Venice. And so, anyway, the luxury will end at that point. But it's been pretty cool. I'm going to film some more footage probably just to put a video together. But nighty-night. If you have a chance to fly Lufthansa first class in their 747 in particular, I would say jump at the opportunity. Alright, so here we are aboard Lufthansa Flight 434 from Munich to Chicago. Not my preferred destination, by the way. I would rather go direct to Houston, which is where we started this trip. But this was an opportunity to fly on Lufthansa's newish Airbus A350 with the Allegris business class and first class. And this is also a good opportunity to sort of compare Lufthansa's older first class product, but in my opinion, far more superior first class product, which is the first class on board the 747-8, which we took over to Germany last week. I've got some video and images from that flight, which I'll include in this video. And so primarily I just want to compare the two and also just generally discuss Lufthansa's business and first class product for an American wanting to travel to Europe. I'm currently in seat 3A, which is a seat that as a business class passenger you must pay extra to be assigned. It has, I think, about the same room, but it feels a little more private. I'll put in some video and imagery of the seat here. I have 2 windows, or actually I guess 2.5 windows, because the window towards the front of my cubicle is blocked on the lower third for some reason, and I'll show an image of that here. The windows on the A350 are quite large, and they have manual shades, which I like, because on both the 747-8 and of course on the 787, the flight attendants have a bit of control over the shades, and I think that really should be left up to the passengers. Now I will say on the 747, even though they could lower the shades, you could just raise them on your own if you wanted to. So I want to start with some just general observations about Lufthansa. Again, this is from the perspective of somebody who lives in the U.S. and wants to travel to Europe, but wants to have a better experience, a premium product. In my case, I'm 6'7", so I need to have a bigger seat, lie flat bed. Otherwise, I am miserable on transatlantic flights. So we tend to book business or first class. I had never flown Lufthansa before, and when the opportunity arose to fly their 747-8 to Frankfurt from Houston, I jumped at the opportunity. I haven't been on a 747 since the 80s. It's been since 1987 or 88. We flew Pan Am Clipper Ocean Herald. I remember the name of the plane, from Miami to Los Angeles. I was just a little kid, and I remember it very well. Cool airplane. So when the chance to fly a 747 came up again, of course I'm going to do it. So we booked that flight, and of course we booked the A350 coming back. Now, when we booked that flight originally, we booked 2 business class seats on the upper deck. I think it was row 88, H and K, and I was very excited about that. Upper deck seems like it has a more private feel, although I'll tell you about that in just a second. We were booked in business class up until about 3 days before departure, when a very, very affordable upgrade to first on that Houston Lufthansa, which was flight 441, became available. And I had to do it. I had to do it. As excited as I was to try Lufthansa's business class on the upper deck of the 747, I really just could not pass up a first class upgrade. So, can't remember the price, but it was much less than buying the first class ticket outright. We snagged seat 2A and 3A on the 747-8, and worth every penny, let me just tell you. If you have an opportunity to fly in the 747 first class on Lufthansa, do it. Do it. And I will tell you, the first class product in the A350 that we just walked past when we boarded, the Allegris product, it doesn't look so hot. And I don't think I would book it. And I'll explain more of that later. So we upgrade to first class and check in the day of our departure. We got to visit the Polaris Lounge, which is United's Polaris Lounge at Intercontinental. By the way, Polaris Lounge is an excellent lounge. Clean, big, good views. Had an awesome burger there. We get to visit the Polaris Lounge, get to board first, get to our seats. I'll tell you, there's just something really remarkable about the first class on the 747-8. First and foremost, and one of the primary differences between Allegris first class on the A350 is that you're in an older seat, but it just feels more open. The first class section of the 747 feels like a large, airy, well-lit living room. And there's a wonderful center island where the flight attendants can set up, champagne bottles, wine bottles, food service. It just feels more loungy, maybe, than on Allegris. And I'm just looking at it right now because it's 2 rows in front of me. The first class product in this plane is a box. You are in a box with a door that closes. Now, personal preference, I don't want to sit in a box. I want to have the feeling of openness. In fact, if you look here, very high ceiling, very unobtrusive overhead bins in business class on the A350. I feel like I've got space. I feel very comfortable. I don't know that the box model is all that great, but some people like that. Some people like to be completely detached and removed from the rest of the traveling crowd. I will tell you that the business class seats on the A350 have kind of a high wall, high divider, so you're not sitting on top of somebody. But anyway, the 747-8 first class, I really enjoyed the openness to it. I'll put in some of the video from the takeoff. You can see how all the windows open. You feel like you're in a flying living room with lots of views. It was really, really, really nice. And let me just tell you, the service, and this, by the way, is true of every Lufthansa and Air Dolomiti flight that we took this trip. The service is incredible. The Lufthansa flight crew, or cabin crew, are some of the best, and I've had nothing but good experiences with their cabin crew. I have some more details on that a little later. So anyway, one great thing about the 747-8 first class is just very, very fine champagne. All the wines are wonderful, and it never stopped flowing. Our flight attendant, Christine, kept our glasses full. Really, really just kind of a great service environment. Of course, we had the caviar, which was excellent. Didn't have a soup course, but there was a starter. By the way, I want to mention here, I don't think I've had a single Lufthansa or Lufthansa group flight this trip that did not attempt to serve me duck. And maybe someone can put in the comments why that is. But man, does Lufthansa like to serve duck. Maybe it's the way they keep Frankfurt and Munich free of birds for the airplanes that are taking off and landing. They just go out there and hunt the ducks and then cook them up at Gate Gourmet. I don't know, but enough with the duck, okay? Please. I'm not a big fan of the duck, but anyway, I will say this, by the way, about the food in the first class product on the 747. Not so great. It was fine. It was fine. I had a fish dish that I actually didn't care for, and the flight attendant noticed, and then she gave me a curry dish, which was really good. And the dessert was good, but the food could use a little bit of work. But I mean, I feel like when you're booking, is there really anybody that flies a premium product, whether it's first class or business class, for the food? I mean, if you are, if that's the only reason why you're doing it, it's not a good idea, because that food is worth like $3, you know. So it's for the comfort and I think the experience. So the food wasn't so great, but it was fine. The seat felt a little dated and a little worn, and the cushioning, the padding of it was kind of flattened out and not so soft. However, when converted to a bed, it converts to a gigantic bed. Again, I'm 6'7", so sometimes the lie flat isn't really even big enough. It was on the 747. And, you know, a duvet cover, a mattress pad, they're all stored in a closet in the very far forward part of the first class cabin, and where the nose is. And they'll make the bed up for you. And of course, they give you slippers and pajamas and a really nice amenity kit. And I managed to get some sleep. I woke up and was captivated by the northern lights, so I didn't sleep a ton, but I did get some sleep. Just a great product. They're supposed to be able to make you fresh scrambled eggs. They have a electric griddle that they put in the first class galley so that they can make you fresh scrambled eggs. We didn't have that on our flight because apparently the catering in Houston forgot to stock the griddle. So they were apologetic, and they had some other omelet, some other warm breakfast, which was fine. Another really good perk traveling first class in Lufthansa is the first class lounge, which was excellent. When we get to Frankfurt, we got directed to the first class lounge. Very comfortable, great food, great drink, coffee, beer, and showers. And that was just wonderful. Really, really nice showers. They're about to start the meal service, so I've got a warm towel. So the showers in the first class lounge are just incredible. Make a huge difference. So I got a shower after arriving in Frankfurt, and also, and this, I can't tell you how great this was, they have sleep rooms. So, you know, if you have a hard time sleeping on the flight over, and, you know, you arrive in Frankfurt or anywhere in Europe really after coming from the States, and you have not slept, you're just so tired because it's the middle of the night, you know, essentially. So the sleep room was wonderful because I caught a quick nap, and that really helped me with the flight on to Venice. Now, I will tell you that the domestic, meaning intra-Europe business class on Lufthansa and its Lufthansa group flights is an utter joke. All of those planes are equipped with like a high-density economy-type seating, but they block the first few rows as business class, but all that really means is that they will keep an empty seat next to you, so you feel like you have more room. You don't really have more room. The seat pitch is the same trash it is in the back, but you have an empty seat next to you. Oh, and they'll serve you a meal, likely duck, and so it's fine. It's fine, but it's not, you know, what you might expect on a U.S. airline in first or business first. By the way, props to Air Dolomiti. 30-minute flight from Venice to Munich in their business class, Embraer 190, and they managed to do a full service with, again, duck. But great crew. Great crew, actually. Nothing but great crews on all these flights. So, anyway, the first class product is awesome. If you're doing long haul on Lufthansa, and you can grab it, danke. If you're doing long haul on Lufthansa, and you can grab a first class seat, I would say do it. I'm sure it's fine on the A350 Allegris. I'm sure it's fine. But there's something just very, very extraordinary and special about the first class on the 747-8. So I would say for some viewers, if you can make that a bucket list item, it's worthy. It's worthy of being one. Highly recommend it. All right, they're getting the meal service started here soon. We just took off from Munich on our way to O'Hare, and I'll just give you a little view here of the screen in front of me. Just watching the flight from the flight camera, and I'll check back a little later with some update on how the food was and the rest of the flight. Okay, we just finished up the meal service. I have to say, the food was excellent. Quite possibly with the exception of the caviar, which of course we don't get in business class. With the exception of the caviar, it's quite possible the food on this flight was better than the 747 first class. Now, that could be a airport of origin issue. It could be that Munich just has much better catering. Also, I think the catering in Houston is Sky Chefs, whereas in Munich they sort of spun Sky Chefs off and now it's Gate Gourmet. That could have something to do with it. But the dinner was excellent. So started out with an appetizer, bread. The appetizer was a tuna dish. I'll put the menu up on the screen so you can see exactly what it was. But the flavor of the tuna dish was just superb. The bread was very good. The bread was served cold, which was a little surprising, but it was fine. And the salad was quite good too. The dressing that came on the salad almost had kind of a ginger flavor to it. Very good. After the starter, there was actually a little bit of a mix-up. I had pre-ordered the pork dish, which is unique to flights that depart out of Munich, but they didn't have it, or the flight attendant told me it didn't come. So I got the beef tenderloin or beef fillet, which was fine. I'll put a picture up of it so you can see. There was some odd texture to it, but it tasted fine. The potatoes and the gravy that were served along with it were excellent. The veggies were good too. About halfway through that meal, my pork showed up. They found it. And I am very, very glad that I didn't take that because it was disgusting. It was dried out. It was over-seasoned, too salty. I wouldn't have eaten it had I received the pork, so I'm glad I got the beef because it was excellent. Then there was a dessert. A cake of some kind was served with a fruit that we had never had before, a ground berry, I think it was called. Just really well made, very good flavors. The meal was excellent. And then I enjoyed a glass of wine with the meal, and also some cognac afterward. I will tell you that the cognac on the 747 first class was better than this cognac, but that's being very, very picky. So here's where I'm at. If you're flying on a 747 on Lufthansa and you can upgrade to first, do it. It's the better product over their business class. I wanted to mention earlier that during that flight from Houston to Frankfurt on the 747, I got up and I walked around. I took a couple pictures, which I'll show you right now. And I was kind of impressed by a few things. First of all, just how big that plane is. It is so, so big. And also how good of a job the flight attendants do in serving everyone promptly. And they sort of, there's tons of galleys on that plane. There's like 5 or 6 of them. And they just kind of unpack everything and set up their stations and just do a really good job serving everyone promptly. But I did go up the stairs to the upper deck on that flight just to kind of look around, and I'll say the upper deck kind of felt a little cramped. The ceiling felt low to me. I'm sure it would have been fine if I was seated up there, but definitely preferred the seat that I had over that one. Now, on this flight, on the Munich to O'Hare flight on the A350, the business class Allegris seat is excellent. I mean, I don't think you really would ever feel cramped here. I haven't put it into bed configuration yet, but I will in a little bit, and I'm sure it's awesome. The guy sitting behind me is creeping on me. Keeps passing me notes and stuff. But the lie flat bed looks like it's going to be big. I'll try it out in a little bit and report back before the end of this video. But the Allegris product in business class is really excellent. And so if you're booking this flight and you're thinking, I think I'm going to try first class, I don't think you need to. I really don't. I think you would be, in terms of the product on the plane, I don't know that there's much of a difference. I really don't. And the first class just looks weird on this plane because you're in that box. You're kind of enclosed, and I don't know. I wouldn't do it. But if it was the 7.4, I would strongly consider upgrading because the business class seats on the 7.4 don't look anything like Allegris. They look less private, a little smaller, a little more cramped. So I don't know that I would go for that. If I could spring for the upgrade, I would. A couple other things to mention. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh, this plane, this A350, is remarkably quiet. Also, the entertainment on board is far superior to the 747-8, even in first class. The screen on that plane was not very responsive. On this plane, it's newer, touchscreen, it's responsive, seems to work really well. Just generally with in-flight electronics, newer is better. This is no exception. I haven't tried the headset yet, but the noise canceling is probably good. It was very good on the 747, I will say that. So, anyway, that's my review of these products. I just changed the mood lighting. I think this is our cue to go to sleep. I'm too excited to sleep. I'll probably watch movies. But the summary is as follows. If you're flying Lufthansa and you're on a long-haul flight and you're going to be on a 747-8, because they still have 400s, you're going to be on the 747-8, and you can upgrade to first, do it. It's worth experiencing, it's worth seeing, and it is an excellent product. If your flight is on kind of a newer plane like this plane, the A350, and you're concerned about what the business class might be like, I think you will be very pleasantly surprised. I would not recommend upgrading, spending the money on the upgraded first class on the A350. I don't think it's necessary. I think the business class product in this plane is better than any U.S. airline, that's for sure. Now, caveat there, other than Polaris, I haven't flown, say, for example, Delta. I think it's called Delta One. It just doesn't look as nice as this, though, in what I've seen. But this is an excellent product. And, of course, the flight crew is just incredible. And this flight is no exception. They've just been really, really good. So that's the summary. I'll wrap up the video by showing you some photos that I took, maybe some videos on board the aircraft. And thanks for watching.